Hey guys, this is Russ and Neat, and this is She Wolf Alchemy. Today we're talking about giving yourself permission to evolve without having to explain yourself. I feel like we talked about this in general before. Most of us weren't taught how to evolve. Like we were taught how to commit. Some of us were taught how to endure. Some of us were even taught how to justify. But a lot of us, no one really set us down, taught us how to evolve. And healing isn't just becoming more consistent for other people. Healing is becoming more honest with yourself. And so we're gonna talk about like why it's okay to be like, you know what, I just don't want this no more. And it's perfectly fine. So I think before we can even get to that, like there needs to be a conversation about like why change your mind feels so hard in general. And I think, like, especially if you're a millennial, most of the people who follow the podcast are, but we have some other generations out there. But I feel like millennials in particular, we were raised through like that follow the rule culture.
Yes.
Like, I feel like almost all of us, our parents at some point gave us a list. And the list looks something like, and y'all have heard me talk about this list before. I've wrote whole pieces and blog and articles on this. This is like, especially if you're black, a black woman, you go to school, don't go bring no home no babies.
Mhm.
You get you a good paying job, you get you a nice house. Well, no, they want us to get a husband first, but you get you a good man, a good hardworking man, and
Yeah.
house, and y'all give us some grandbabies.
Mm.
Like,
And
there's
it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. My mom was, "You need to be independent, don't depend on that man." But I never understood why. She always depended on
I'll get into that. This is not for that is for you and your therapist to discuss.
like, you guys independent or even going back to, like, the rules of if you start something, you gotta finish off strong, or don't start nothing you can't finish, and don't half-ass do nothing. Do it to your full potential, or don't do it at all. Like, that's literally
Yeah.
all I've been hearing from family growing up.
And, like, again, the list looks different for a lot of us. I think marriage was never really brought up until more recently. And it's so crazy because my dad has always been a, like I think I've talked about this before, like, when I got pregnant, I was in my mid-20s. I think I was 24 when I got pregnant, but, like, when I had my daughter, I was 25, which is a baby. Every now and then I think about that, and I was like, "You was a ba" and you can't tell me nothing. I thought I was grown. I was like, "I
Mhm.
have a degree. I'm about to have a second one." I've been in my career like, I was like, "I'm grown," and then I look back, especially since now I have a little cousin that's, like, about to be 22, and I'm like, I would not trust you with a child 2 years from now." She's amazing, she's great with kids, but I'm like, no, no, why y'all let me leave the hospital with that child?" She's turning out great, it's working out, but
But
crazy.
the thing is, when it was happening,
Mhm.
you didn't seem I am 3 years older than you,
Yeah.
but it didn't seem like you was that young, or even I wasn't young, I was 28, but 27, 28, but it didn't seem like you were that young.
Well, I think also because all of y'all are because all the rest of y'all are around the same age. All of y'all are
Yeah.
3, 4 years older than me, and so I think sometimes y'all forget that I'm not that age. Cause was it you? Was it you or who was it? I was talking to somebody recently who had said something like, "'Cause we about to be 40." I'm like, "First of all, I'm about to be 35. We got 5 years." Don't get
Right.
me wrong, I'm looking forward to 40. 30s was more
Mhm.
amazing than 20s. 20s was more amazing than my teens. I expect 40 to be, like,
Yeah.
amazing.
Girl.
I'm gonna love it. But I don't
Mhm.
was it you? I had a conversation with someone recently. I was like, "Hold on," because they're like, "'Cause we like 2 years away before." I was like, "Wait a minute,
Oh, well,
wait a minute."
maybe it was 'cause I'm 37, so maybe.
Like, first of all, let me get to 35. Yeah, I was saying though with my dad, like and I think I've talked about this before on the podcast though, like, when I had my baby, I was, like, 25 when I actually no, I think I was still 24. I was still 24.
Wow.
Yeah, but, like, at the time, when I had to tell my dad when I was pregnant, my dad was like, "Who told you about penises?" Like, when I tell you he was like, "I didn't tell you. We still go to school. No one even told you about boys. How did you find out
Mhm.
about males?" Like, it blew his mind because my parents were, like did not really talk about that. So that's why it's crazy to me because my parents have never been like, "Get married, find a man, da 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 da." until I got in my 30s, and, like, to my dad, it wasn't until 2 weeks ago, I'm just having a lovely conversation with this man, avoiding the topic of church, and then he's just randomly
Mhm.
was just like, "Uh-huh, uh-huh." So, like, "Baby, are we dating? What's happening?" I know. Like, "I thought you didn't want me to know about men and penises. What are you talking about? Why are why is this conversation being brought up?" And he was like, "I heard about that one young man."
They still talk?
I don't know, but he said, "I heard about" you know who he was talking about, and he was just,
Mhm.
"It was him. I heard we liked him. My dad has never met him." Somebody somewhere is talking, because as far as I know, they don't, but, like, he brought up the young man. He's like, "I thought we liked him. It seemed like everybody approved of him. What happened with the young man?" I was like, "He reminded me of you. That's so much like my dad. I need to get the fuck out of here."
Mhm. Yes, yes.
Um, so yeah, anyways, that was a sidebar. My bad, y'all. That was my trauma. But so, like, that wasn't a big thing until, like, apparently recently that's now about to be a thing. But it was very, like, school, get your money, like, career shit.
Mhm.
Big on my parents. They're like, "We are investing all this in you because we want the outcome of this at some point in time." And I think when you, like, grow up in that type of, like, again, follow through culture, like, finish what you start, don't quit, eat everything on your plate, get
Mhm.
through, like, it feels like weakness when whether it's a job, a relationship, a hobby, your career path, friendships, partners, like, it almost feels like I am failing when you're like, "Oh, I don't want this anymore."
Yeah. Yeah.
'Cause I don't know about you, but my parents are very much, you see all this that we" now, here's the funny thing, my parents used to let me quit everything,
My parents
but they
didn't.
would guilt me. They'd be like, "You how much money that cost $300." And then we had to get the
Mhm.
equipment, and then and what we gonna do with the equipment?
Yeah, they wouldn't let me quit anything. Like, I didn't wanna do dance class anymore, so they made me go tell the instructor that I didn't wanna do this, and I'm kinda like, "My dear niece," and I'm crying 'cause I don't wanna do that. Like, that's a lot. I was in there, "I have to quit," like, 'cause my career is so weird, I just why y'all couldn't just let me get out of it? Like,
The way I
why?
need you to come talk to your niece, cause yeah.
Yes, I'm
'Cause I was
telling
more
you,
like your
she's
daughter. If I don't wanna
decided.
do it, you can't make me, and I'm just gonna be like, "No."
And, my child
Uh,
would never go in there. She would be like, "No, I'm not going in there.
yeah,
I'm not.
that was
I'm
me.
not."
That was me. I would just decide I don't wanna do things, and they would be like
So what? No.
and then it
And
was just
then,
guilted, but I still didn't do it.
oh, my parents wouldn't. I didn't wanna work at McDonald's no more. I cried about that. Was tired
Mm,
of smelling like french fries. It was like, "Nope, you still gotta go there and see if I find another job. You still got," and I did. I'm like, "But I don't wanna work there. It's so hot." Because the only thing they had me doing was the fries. They never moved me after fries.
I feel like I'm missing out. I think I'm the only She Wolf member who has not worked at McDonald's, 'cause all you got traumatic stories about McDonald's.
Yeah, that was my first job, and I was so hired. I went to open interviews because I wanted money, and
Yeah,
they was like, "Well, you can go. You got the job. I don't like this." "Well, you're not. You're staying until you get another job."
yeah.
So I never was allowed to change my mind about anything. It's just like you do it, or if you don't, you have to face the consequences and figure that out. So yeah.
See, and my thing is I can understand that to a certain extent. I think and here's my take on that. I don't wanna get too far off, but, like, when it comes to parenting, I feel like you have to parent based on your children's personality.
Mhm. Mhm.
And, like, I know my parents, I think when we got older, when we were adults and in therapy already, they were like, "Oh, maybe they're on their own individuals. I should treat them differently." But when we were growing up, like, I grew up first of all, I have several siblings, but I grew up with my 2 brothers. And my brothers were stunt devils, were like my brothers were doing music videos in the house when my parents went out of town. They would take the bins, was doing donuts and stuff, put in evidence because they made music videos with it. They was doing stuff like that. So then here comes little innocent me. I wasn't innocent, but here comes me, and they're like, for example, I was not allowed to apply to take my license until I was 18 because both of my brothers and half of my cousins, my male cousins, all had their license suspended before they turned 18. So I wasn't even allowed to practice. They're like, "No,
Mhm.
we're getting you to 18." And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, but like also, I have never even attempted to steal y'all car. I feel like
Right.
I should be treated a little bit differently. I'm not picking up
Mhm.
hoes. I'm not doing that. I have no hoes to pick up.
Right.
Let me let me get my life.
Right. You're right.
But no. But going back to that, like, the reason I brought that up was to say, like, yes, I do think there's certain children, like, you do have to do that with. Like, I am starting to realize with my daughter, it's not so much like I can't let her not quit, but I have to force her to make decisions. You and me just had a conversation about this last night. Like, my daughter is very sensitive and
Mhm.
she doesn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. There's a lot of Pisces and Libra in her chart. Whole Pisces stellium and a Libra moon. And so like she's really big on people pleasing.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
her mother is not. Her father definitely ain't pleased nobody. So like I'm just like, where does this come from? And it confuses me at times. And so like I'm trying to figure out how to parent for her personality because there's
Mhm.
so many things that like that just wasn't a thing for me when I was a child. And so for like her, like, yeah, I'm gonna have to make her sit down and make decisions. With me though, I kinda got why my parents in certain aspects was just like, "No, we gonna make this decision because if we let rest make this decision, she's gonna make a decision we don't like, and it's gonna be hard for us to make her."
Yeah. 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 They
Uh,
didn't ever let me make decisions either. It was just like the same. Like, not I'm gonna make bad decisions. I don't even know that they trust my decision. I just think it was their old school way of thinking, like, this is what you're gonna do, and you're not gonna say anything about it.
yeah. Well,
So
but see, I think the same thing, like, I think mine was just my parents are boomers, like, I think it was just
mhm.
thinking more than it was like I had a history of not, like, making bad decisions.
Mhm.
It was just like, "Nah, cause kids, y'all be doing stuff.
Yeah.
What you're gonna do? You're gonna be in church 3 days a week." Like,
You
alright.
wanna stay busy here. Mhm.
Yeah, we're gonna make sure you're occupied to the point that you're, like, just extremely anxious your whole child
Mhm.
like, things like that. Just that, again, like, there's certain things I think culturally that a lot of us experience. A big one is that finish what you start, don't quit, and then now we're adults who, like, are in, like, horrible ass relationships, and we're like, "But it's been 4 years, so I guess I gotta marry him."
Mhm.
You do not need to marry that woman. If
Mhm.
like I feel like I see that happen all the time where it's like, especially when it comes to relationships, it's just like we've been here this long, so we might as well do it. And it's like you don't like you're allowed to like one, y'all didn't have to make it last that long. Like,
Mhm.
especially when it was like year one and you realize, like, huh, I know when I'm usually in love, this is how I feel. Like
Yeah.
I felt that feeling before and I'm not getting that here. But they cool. Let's see what year two was like. They all right. Let's see what year 2 is like, and now you at year 4 and they're like, "Uh-huh, ring." And you're like, "Well, I guess so." That is not like, that's crazy to me.
And that's how it works, but I digress.
The way I can't understand that. But not only that, but, like, I think that's the same thing that happens with, like, jobs and stuff too. Like,
Mhm. Mhm.
I know when I was in my 20s, I do for the small percent of people in their 20s I do listen, I do wanna say the older people at your jobs are not haters. They are looking out for you. They're trying to give you wisdom. Because I would say when I was in my 20s, and I don't even think I recognize this. I think if you go back to like very, very early episodes, like season one, I had a completely different mindset about that than I do now. But like, I had coworkers who were like older than me who like really were putting me on game. And I took it as like they were hating ass old women. They didn't want to see a young woman stuck. Like, it don't
Mhm.
now, I'm like, "Oh, no, they're right, this is bullshit. Oh, you're right, they are, like, exploiting workers. They are, like, baby girl, yeah, that seems like a lot of money because you 21 with no kids and no real bills,
Yeah.
exploiting you. That's actually not good money for the things they're having you out here do."
Mhm. Mhm. Not at all.
Yeah. But even with that, I'm saying with jobs, like, you've seen it before where you have people who are in jobs, and this is, like, their 10th year, and they hated that job since year 2. But it's like, well, it's a good government job and might as well. And I'm not telling nobody, especially in this economy, to go and quit your job unless that's in your spirit. Because Lord knows I just quit a job. Economy. It's like, when I feel the quitting spirit, I like to go.
Yeah, there you go.
I go, look. But I do think like you can have those things where it feels like, no, but I want, especially like restarting your career. No, but I went to school for this. Like,
Mhm.
I don't care that I don't like it anymore. I already put all this effort into it, I might as well stick with it. There's no
Right.
point in dreaming of something else.
Mhm. Or starting it over. Yeah.
No one taught us how to say like, "Okay, this made sense then, but it doesn't make sense now, and I'm allowed to
Mhm.
change my mind," because you are. I mean, and because here's the thing, consistency can sometimes feel like it becomes a moral virtue, even when it's costing us our peace, and what I mean by that, like, we idolize this idea of like, well, but I'm consistent and I'm always there and I always
Mhm.
show up and I always give to this thing. And it's like, and we're upholding it. And it's like this is like more upground of like, yes, because I can say that. And it's like consistency doesn't matter if it's destroying you.
Mhm.
It is not some moral virtue if it your consistency is the reason why you are breaking down every night. Is the reason why you're no longer enjoying life.
Yeah. So let's talk about also it's like the shame layer. So why do we think changing our minds is like making us flaky? So let's break this down together. Usually flaky looks like unreliable,
Mhm.
but in all actuality, evolving is more responding to new information. New information that I'm getting, like, I didn't see this before, but I'm seeing it now. And now it's time to make the change.
Yeah.
So, in all actuality, growth literally requires revision. Like to look over all the things I did. I'm like, is this working for me or is it not? And if it's not, it's okay to make that change. For me, it's like me being scared majority of the time, but
Mhm.
I be knowing in my head, good time.
Mhm.
It's just like, and I think it's a deprogramming from like we're saying, like how I grew up. And it's like, you got to finish strong. You got to keep going. But for real, and actually, it's just pretty miserable if you don't take the risk.
I agree. And I love that how you said that too, because I'm such a big believer in like, I'm allowed to change once I get new information. I might
Mhm,
say, oh, this thing is, I'll give you an example. It's a stupid example, but I'll give you the example. The first time I was introduced to Kodak Black was like a video of him. It was like a clip going around of him on like social media. And he was being ignorant. Like he was being ignorant, like ignorant as fuck. Because I refused to listen to his music. And I'm like, I don't want to. And then the first song I heard from, I can't remember what it was, but it was not good. And then last year I was talking to someone I used to be friends with, and they were like, and I had mentioned like, oh, and I like some Dakota Black stuff. And they're like, I thought you did not like this man. I thought he was ignorant, da, da, da. And I was like, okay, well, I have new information. Apparently he slaps. So now I listen to some Kodak Black. Like now I love Love and War. Look at that
mhm,
song. Love Shake
mhm,
Back. So,
mhm.
but it's like I got new information. So I'm allowed to change my mind now that I have that information. And I think like we have to learn to kind of be okay with that. I think even now, as we're talking about that with self, but I think also with others, 'cause I think sometimes we wanna keep people stuck in boxes of, like, where I last left you, and this is what you
Mhm.
oh, so now you changed up, like, yeah, they got new information, allow them to change.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's for me. Like sometimes I can see different perspectives, and some people don't like that about me. It's like, well, you changed your mind. Well, I seen a different perspective, and I can understand where they're coming from, and that's okay. Like I didn't know all the information beforehand, and now I do, and this is how I feel. And guess what? It could change too. So it's like, yeah, yes, that is definitely part of my personality. But sometimes I just don't share it because I don't feel comfortable
Yeah.
going back to like the people pleasing or whatever. But for sure, I'll be thinking like, I understand though. I get it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's how we kinda have to kinda look at things, like, yeah, this career made sense to me back when I was in my 20s
Mhm.
or in my teens when I was like, "Oh, I don't need money. I just wanna save the world. Rainbows and butterflies," and it's like, "Oh, but I have a family now." It
Mhm.
me to keep doing this thing because yes, I love it, but it's no longer financially beneficial for me. So like maybe now that I recognize like, oh, when it's just me supporting myself, I guess it can do. I guess
Yeah.
suffer a little, but like, oh, now that I have a kid or now that I have a wife, like I kind of want to do something that, brings in some stability. This might have to be a passion project and I need to
Mhm.
like do something more serious. It's the same thing with like I think it can be the same thing with, like, friendships. I think it's
Yeah.
okay to be like, "Okay." back then when we were kids, it made sense for me and you to be friends. Now that we are like in our mid-30s, like we're very different people.
Mhm.
Very different people. When we were kids, I just know that like our mamas liked each other. They were okay with us spending a night at each other's house. We both like Pokemon. That was enough. And now like we're kids, like, oh, you have different political beliefs.
Mhm.
Different political beliefs. You have beliefs that are harmful to lots of people and very hateful. I'm allowed to change my mind.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't even have to be that, though. Sometimes it can just be like, yo, our personalities just don't mesh together. It's now awkward.
Mhm.
We try to sit and talk with one another. We have
Yeah,
nothing
yeah.
in common anymore. Sitting around and trying to like go to dinner or have a conversation feels like pulling teeth. Because I got new information. Now I'm a new person. You got new information. Now you're a new person. And my new person and your new person are no longer on the same page. It's okay to change your mind.
Mhm. Mhm. Definitely. And I don't think I really seen that until, like, 35 and up.
Yeah.
Every year is like, "Ooh, that's a new something new." Like, I did never thought it would be like this. Like, I just started to, like, look at friendships, look at my life, look at my choices, and it's like, I'm okay. I'm not even as anxious, and I don't have much anxiety as I used to before. So I don't really care like I used to. Like, I used to care about so much, and it would just take on. It's like the more I get older, I'm like, who am I answering to but myself? Like, I do everything by myself. Like, people help me, of course, whatever, if I allow them to, because that's something I'm working on. But I'm just like, I feel so much free because I don't have as much anxiety on my choices that I make for myself and worry about, yeah, so 35 and up was, like, the liberation years for me.
No, it was. It was so funny. I don't know. Do you remember that Florida trip we took? The conference we went to when
Yes,
we
yes,
as
yes, yes,
becoming
yes.
friends.
How can I forget that one?
It almost ruined our friendship. It almost ruined our friendship. Yeah, we had to go on this big, like, conference trip with a large group of people, and it was fun. We had one person ruining the fun for everybody, and it came to the point we had a professor that, like, sat us all down and was like, "What's going on?" And we was all in a hotel room like, "Yeah, 'cause she doing this and then this, and when we talk about it, we gonna talk." And I remember I got there and I was so hyped, and I was the first one I wanted to talk, and I was like, "Yeah, 'cause she doing this, da, da, da," and none of y'all asses back me. I started talking all that shit, and
Everybody had
none of
made you
y'all
big
back
fun of
me.
me.
And the professor decided I was the problem child, and I was so fucking hurt. And I think when we came back, I had talked to you for like a week. I was so pissed off.
You didn't even talk to me when I was there, like, it's like, "Okay, well, let me go find this man."
Sure enough, no.
No,
Like, well, there's a fine.
I met that man, yes.
We'll work out the friendship when we get back.
Oh, because I was like, 'cause you know me, that was when we first kind of we wasn't first friends, but it was a new friendship.
It
So
was
I'm like, I don't know how to navigate this. So I'm just gonna be quiet. Because even back then, I would never. It's not that I didn't agree with what you saying. I would never stand up and say something. But that's my personality. Just
yeah.
shut down. Back then, I didn't have a voice really, so I would never have said something. Right now, I would have.
Yeah.
Even I
I
don't
mean,
think I was speaking up till after I had my daughter.
yeah. I mean,
So
no, that's why I brought it up though, is to say like you definitely have changed. Cause I remember back then, like again, we were new friends. I didn't know. You didn't know either. You're like, oh, she can be aggressive. Did not know that about Russ. And for me, I'm like, oh, she doesn't do conflict. Did not know
no,
that about her. And we had a
no,
conversation, we discussed, and you said, like, Russ, I don't really do conflict. Like when we were talking, I
mhm.
thought we was just talking amongst ourselves. I was not trying to
And you are like, "We got this now." No, we ain't got this.
we thought that was in the
And
real
then the other
conversation.
word, and, the other person,
Mhm.
see, she's just like La La Land all the time, so it wasn't getting nothing out of her, so
Uh, Nothing. Lord, but no, we had a conversation. We came to agreement. We're like, "Oh, this is your personality, whatever." But the only reason I brought that up was to say, like, no, because you are very different now. Like, I know I
Mhm.
gotta tell you beforehand. I gotta tell you the plan beforehand. I can't surprise you. I do know that about your personality, but I gotta be like, "Yo, we running up," and you go like, "Okay." But I
It's
trust you got my back now. I trust that, like, you're like, "Okay."
but now, yeah, I'm ready to I'm raw right now. Like, my sister be like, "You the one who need to calm down now," because it's just I don't know. I think this life happened, and it was like you go through so much. It's like you lost this, you did this, you had strength in this. Who gonna stop you, boo? Like, like whatever now. But like then it's just like, but you definitely have to learn that about your friends and personality. So yeah. And you got new information, you understood, and I understood you. Cause I was like, okay, she's just not gonna talk. I'm just gonna have to let her be great. Like, and
Oh,
you
no.
were still mad at me, but you were still like, "Are you coming back to the room? Are you safe?" I was like, "Oh, yeah. She's talking to me now."
Look, I'm still a girl's girl. I don't care how mad I am at you. I gotta make sure this man didn't kidnap you.
It was like, "Yeah, but we're back."
Come back in the room like, "Okay, just so you clear, we're still not talking.
You were still silent without
That you're
touching my
alive."
phone, so but no.
Oh, I am so proud of
Mhm.
your growth. I really, really am. I really, really am. Even from those points when I did not know you, from things you have told me about things that have happened in the past, I'm like, "What? You would never let that
Mhm.
happen now." You're like, "Yeah, yeah, that was a different Nique." I'm like,
Definitely,
"Okay."
definitely. Yes, yes, yes.
And so, as we're talking about, like, friendship and stuff, like, let's go back to relationships, romantic situationships,
Mhm.
like, when love changes shape, you are allowed to want different things at different stages in life. You're allowed to realize love isn't enough anymore. You are allowed to outgrow dynamics that once felt safe, but you're now recognizing that it doesn't. And
Mhm.
I had a relationship that I was in for a long time, but I remember being at a point where, and I've talked about this before, being at a point where I wanted to leave, and I had a lot of people in my life just be like, "No, y'all have already been here together this long. Y'all already got these things together. Y'all have joint accounts. Like, y'all have bills together. Y'all have certain things together." And even when I was talking to them and being like, "I can't do this anymore," it was just like, but nothing has really changed. And it was like, well, but I've changed. Like, you're right. You are still the same person you were. And I'm not faulting you on that. And that's still a good person, but I'm a different person now. And the person that I am, like, it's just no longer compatible. And having a sense of love there is not enough to be like, well, I'm going to bypass the fact that, like, I'm no longer happy because I
Mhm.
love you. I'm gonna bypass the fact that you're right. At one point in time, this felt very safe. At one point in time, I was like, okay, this is something I can do. But it was like a long road of like, oh my gosh, that was the longest breakup. That was like a 11-month breakup. I swear for like 11 months. I was just like,
Mhm.
hey, please let me go. Please release me. Please just let me fly.
Right.
And but it felt hard, and I remember, like, having a lot of women. You weren't one. You were always like, "I want you to be happy, and this is not what you want." Actually, you were also very like, "I don't even know how you got here." Like, we don't even you're like, "Yeah, yeah, we have no idea even how y'all made it here." Yeah, girls.
Yes. I can't talk about I'm in a situation, so
But no, I appreciate it because you and Gabby actually were like the only 2 people. I hadn't met Ashley at that point in time, but you and Gabby are like the only 2 people really in my life that were like, "Yeah, do what you need to do. Like, do what you need to do to be happy." And I had so many people who were like, who literally was just like, "But there's all this stuff. Why would you change this now? Why would
Mhm.
you?" And I really question. I think it's why it took so long for me to like end things officially. Well, also they were holding me hostage, but like I do think that's why it was like it was still kind of like a difficult decision for me, because I feel like I had so many people in my ear that were just like, "No, just make it. Y'all been here this long already.
Yeah,
Got
yeah.
this together, and y'all already looking at houses, and y'all already, this is what thing that's happening." And I remember like the way they phrased it to me, like me wanting to walk away. They phrased it as if I was lying to them before about what I wanted. They may phrase it like, well, then you never loved me at all in any type of way. They phrase it like, you wasted my time. And it did make me feel bad. I still cared about the person. I just realized, like, yo, also there was an age gap and my
Mhm.
frontal lobe developed. And I was like, hey, this is not what I'm trying to do for the rest of my life. But with them, like, there was a, like, you lied. You wasted my time. Oh, so you never really loved me, when it was like, I did, but like, I'm also allowed to now not.
Mhm.
I'm allowed to say my love has stopped. And you can take that however you wanna take it, but that's can be the truth as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just yeah. I think it is hard for them to understand it because, like, I think sometimes as women, like, well, we made up that our mind or something, or we just wake up like, damn, this ain't for us. It's like confusion. Like, you was faking the whole time. No, I just woke up and figured out that this isn't what I want anymore. And it's okay. I had a guy like, you're going to regret that and karma's going to come. I said, karma's going to come for leaving somebody that I no longer want to be with.
Hold on, let me
Think
bleep
it's
it.
going to be no
Who
karma from that.
yeah, hold on, I'll bleep it out, but who you talking about? Oh, yeah, fuck it. Okay.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Like karma. You are my karma. Like from for chicken on the market.
Oh,
A
you
great
took the words
relationship.
right out of my mouth.
Literally prayed to
Out
get
the
out of that
mouth.
situation. I said, God, get me out, and I would never talk to this man again. And I never talk to that man again.
Yeah.
Anyways, so
Mm.
yeah, it's just like a guilt trip or whatever. But it's always okay to change our mind. It's always be like, this is not fitting me anymore. And I actually, I feel like for real, that was better for him.
No, I agree with you as well, like and not just from the men's side, I say ladies as well.
Mhm.
If that man or woman or individual wants to leave you,
Mhm.
let them leave you.
Yes,
Let
yes.
them leave you. If they're meant to come back, they will. They'll figure it out and y'all can decide then. But like also if they don't, never put yourself in a situation where you're like, I will love us enough to make up for the love that you don't have for me. I will
Mhm.
ignore the fact that you don't love me as long as you're here. You
Yeah,
deserve so much better than that.
yeah.
I think sometimes we like, no, we want them to stay. We want them to work it out because it's like, well, again, I spent all this time, I invested all this stuff. Um, if you leave, that means they never love me. Like, no, both things can be true. They could have, they might not have. That's the thing. Lord knows that is a thing. People stay in relationships where they know they do not like that person. And they will stay for years. And you'll be like, well, what are you doing? And I'm not
Mhm.
gonna traumatize y'all with that, but that is a thing. That is a fucking thing. Mm.
Yeah. The
Okay.
like sometimes is more than love. Like, you love your people, you could love anybody, but if you don't really like them, would it even last? Like, would it is it even worth it?
Look, let me
Like is
do
strong one.
anyways, I say I have to say, like, so don't be out here begging for somebody. You deserve to have somebody who, like, no, I'm deciding I want you. And it's a decision I'm making. It's a feeling that I have. It's nothing fleeting. It is made out of nothing but my desire to be with you. Um, you don't have to go outside trying to beg somebody. They're allowed to change your mind. If you have a person you love them, I know it hurt. Trust me. I know it hurts. It hurts to love somebody and then that person just decide they don't love you anymore.
Mm. Mhm.
It hurts sometimes to even be on the other side, to love a person and to just realize like, but I can't do this no more.
Right, yeah.
I
It does
real
hurt, yeah, that
I
way too.
realize love is not enough. It hurts from you
Mhm.
as well. But don't let that hurt kind of keep you trying to be stuck in trying to make a situation work that is asking you to evolve, that is asking for change. I think all evolution hurts a little.
Mhm. I do remember a time I was just crying because I didn't love the guy as much as he loved me, and it was just like, "This is I'm over this. It's a better situation. Like, I'm settling right now. I just and I wasn't in a relationship with anybody, but I knew I was supposed to be talking to him, but I'm like, I don't wanna do that no more.
Mhm.
And but I know he was such a good man, it just wasn't the good he treated me well, I would say. I don't know how good of a man he was behind the scenes, but he treated me well. But something in me was saying like, "This is it." And I was just crying so hard because 'cause I'm like, "This is gonna break his heart." Because I know how much he loves me. I know how much he cares about me, but this is just not what I want. And selling in to make him happy is not gonna serve me when I see like I'm seeing what I really want. I'm seeing what I really need. But it's a hard it is hard. It's not even easy. It's hard.
I know I cried one time because I cried a long time, like for years on and off, cried about a situation where I just had to recognize like this is not what I can't do this long term.
Mhm.
Loved
Mhm.
them, wanted to marry them, like really thought that was my person. And like I was the one that walked away and cried the whole time.
You cried. Yeah.
Huh?
Ugly cry.
Ugly cry. Pull over in the side of the road, call your
Mhm.
best friend with sad music playing in the background crying. Like, maybe I made a mistake. Maybe, maybe love is enough. But like, yeah, it hurts to evolve. But you
Yeah.
know, so funny, and I know you already know about this because me and you talked about this privately, but like in that very same situation for years, every now and then it would cross my mind, like, did I make a mistake? Should I have just made it work? And last year, like November, I was looking I was actually looking for the time we broadcast the first episode of She Wolf. Because I'm in an astrology course and they were talking about like business astrology. And so I was like, oh, I wonder if I can find like the birth time of the quote unquote podcast. And I had deleted the first episode. And so I was like, well, we do notes. Like we edit our show notes in like our phone notes. And so I was like, oh, let me go back. Y'all, I came back and I came across the notes I was writing before I would send this man text messages of like the last 2 or 3 months before I ended things with this man. And when I say my brain completely wiped away the fact that I was actively evolving, like I'm looking in those notes, like in my head, the story I was telling myself was like, I really love this guy. I really want to be with him. This was my person. But there were certain things I found out. There were certain things I knew. There was certain things about his personality that I was trying to get. And I was just like, I'm not sure if I can do this. And I walked away and I probably should have made it work. And, a whole bunch of like complications. When I tell y'all the last 2 or 3 months, I went through the notes. I like forgot to delete. I was bent over that man's bullshit. Like, but that's not the story I had been telling myself.
Mhm.
Not the story I have been telling myself at all. Like at all. Like my whole time, every time I revisit, my head was just like, I probably fucked that up. And I probably should have put in more effort. And I wonder if blah, blah, blah. I wonder. When I tell you the last 2 or 3 notes was me going off on this man and just being like, he is not who I thought he was.
Mhm.
I, mm, I am not impressed.
Yeah.
Why? Why am I confused over this mediocre man? Like, that's literally how my notes read, but that's not how my mind remembered it.
Mhm.
And I say that to say, like, also during your evolution, there might be times where you feel like, did I make a mistake? And your mind will play tricks on you. Your mind will tell you that this is how it was, which is why we keep going back to journal. Journal things down because it's really easy for you to convince yourself that this is how it went. Me and Nique actually talk about this all the time. We do it to each other where there's a situation that we were there for, and then we'll try to like tell the situation now and we'll completely cover that situation in glitter. And then the other one will be like, girl, that's not what happened. Yes, it is. It was beautiful and lovely and it was perfect. And the other one will be like, all right, girl, like I was there, but okay. Because our minds will do that. We can get in certain
Yeah.
periods and our minds will just make
Mhm.
look rose
And go, right?
rose colored glasses. But
Mhm.
it's hard to argue with your own words on pen and paper.
Mhm.
It's
Oh,
when
yeah,
I
for
tell
sure.
you that slapped me in my face when I was like, oh, hey, I wasn't like devastated and was like, I love him. This is a hard decision. Over it. Decided actually like 2 months before I left. Like, yeah, I
Mhm.
gotta plot my escape because
Ain't it?
this
Yeah.
ain't it. But that's
Mhm.
the story. So side note, also write down your story as you are doing that evolution because let me tell you, the way we can gaslight ourselves.
Yes.
Look, every now and then I'm reminded that particular person I'm talking about is the only person I've ever dated that none of y'all liked. And none of y'all told me y'all didn't like him. None of y'all told me till it was over and I had been crying a little bit too long. And y'all were like, out of all the people on your roster, this is who is tripping you up? Like, he's not even,
On paper, he seemed great though,
he did. He
because I
did.
was very excited at the beginning.
He was. He's actually a really great guy on paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then all the other stuff was like, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Confusing.
But look, yeah, yeah. Because every now and then I'd be like, he was so amazing. Y'all be like, no, he wasn't.
It was just like his zodiac sign twin.
That horrible, horrible particular male zodiac sign. Yes.
Yeah.
So essentially what we're saying though, is that honoring who you were doesn't require you to live there forever. You can have loved a person. It could have been great. It could have been what you want. It is not a failure. It is not you not honoring what you guys had to recognize that this is simply not working anymore. This is simply not what I want anymore. And I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna sit here and say that that is not gonna make you the villain in their story. It might be. It might. And that might be real. It might be
Mhm.
real, to be honest. And we also have to accept that sometimes we do stuff that is hurtful to other people, and it's what we need to do for us. And both things can be true. But you can love someone and still choose differently.
Every time.
Yeah.
And even loving someone and choose differently, we can talk about friendships, which is like the quietest place we fear change. For me, it's the loudest. 'Cause I'm like, I just don't want it. And this is like harder for me. I would say this is harder for me than romantic relationships. So this part, it hits harder than other relationships, at least for me.
Mhm.
But sometimes friendships often survive from history and not alignment. Facts.
Hey, you need a break? You need a break? You wanna share some you wanna share with the class, Neat?
Yes,
You
I
got experience in this area, Neat. You wanna share?
I definitely in the last 2 years, it's just like it's like a I think for me, it's like, okay, I had the same like, I never lost a friend since, probably, like, preschool,
Yeah,
kindergarten.
yeah.
I never did. So, it's just like, even though I have grown and evolved, I have new friends and new seasons, I still have friends from elementary, not so much preschool. My best friend from preschool, she passed away a few years ago, but like my elementary school friends,
Yeah.
I went out to I went out to brunch with them to end the year last year. So it's just like I continue to do it. But it's just like sometimes it just may not align or it just may not align with the person I am now. And
Yeah.
that was like a hard pill for me to swallow. Very hard for me to swallow. When in all actuality, sometimes some things we were going through, not trauma bonding, but just kind of just leaning on each other to survive. And now since we're thriving, it's just like, do we still need this relationship? Is what I'm coming to see at some points. It's also like the pressure to stay loyal to a version of you that you have outgrown. And even like for me, I outgrown a lot of versions of myself. a lot, a lot. So it's just like sometimes it's hard to see your friend, your childhood friend, you see that version of them as a childhood friend and the relationships we have, it's hard to accept the new version. So
Yeah.
it can either go one way or the other. You can learn this, meet this new person, learn this new person and see if it works for you, or just reject it and be like, nah, you ain't being yourself. When in actuality, we are
Yeah.
all growing. And you can be like, I ain't feeling it, they ain't they self. But in all actuality, we are always growing. So that is something that I'm like seeing, like I'm seeing it loud and clear. Cause even my elementary school friends, we're not the same at all. We never been the same. But I still see parts of them that's like, oh, that's my friend. We don't have to talk every day. We don't have to see each other every day. But we have this kinship that we continue. We're not harming each other at all. And we respect the growth that we have, you know. But some friends, it's just hard to accept that the growth. It's hard to accept the growth. And I definitely feel like I get sad or I can cry more with losing a friend than losing a man. And it's just like, okay, am I changing? Do I need to stay this way to keep this friendship? And then learning that you don't have to and it's okay. And that your friends will accept you, the new person you are. Your friends will take the time to learn this new person. You shouldn't feel guilt around it.
Yeah. No, I feel like, I owe you an apology because 'cause I've always teased you about this. Because like, when me and you first met, you had yeah, your friends since, like, elementary school, and I remember the first time I hung out with all y'all, I was so overwhelmed. I'm like, "So you mean to tell me all 15 of y'all hang out together all the time?" Like, it was so overwhelming. It was so
But see, those are
overwhelming.
my middle school friends. See,
Okay.
my
Yeah,
middle school
middle
didn't even
school.
hang with with the elementary.
Okay. Okay. Yo, it was a lot of y'all. I just
Yeah.
want every time you're like, "You wanna go out with us?" I'm like, "You know what? I'm good." It's a lot of people to keep in track with at this
Yeah.
very busy and we're all drinking, like, it's too much.
But I will say,
Mhm.
I was pleasantly surprised that even though you were overwhelmed, you actually got along with them that day.
Ye
I
I
was like, "You still
well,
found her
it's
great
a
in
couple
situ."
of times because y'all when y'all came to a couple it was only one time I think I hung out with the whole group, but
That was
I
the
hung out
first
with,
time.
like, 6 of y'all at a
Yeah,
time, and that was more
yeah,
manageable.
yeah.
Okay.
But the first time, that was the whole group, and you did good in there. But I don't know you just talking about and it was drama that night. You actually
Mhm.
still was good. It's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that look at my friend."
Me and the one friend that apparently all y'all kicked out the group had a time because y'all was involved in drama. and then you and your sister had got into it, and I wasn't used to you and your sister getting into it.
Yeah.
And
It
so,
was so
like,
much
me and a
fun.
friend that apparently everybody else done kicked out was like, "Hey, you wanna go get free drinks for men?" I was like, "Yeah, let's go get free drinks for men." And me and her just went around being like, "Hey, I'm pretty and I got boobs." And they're like, "Yeah, you want Hennessy?" And me and her had a great night. We had a great night. I think we walked away
That's
with a
what I
bottle at
did.
some point.
Yes, that's what I did like about my friends. Like you, like if you feeling this way, you can go ahead with that friend. Feeling this way, you go ahead with that friend because we all had different personalities. But
Look,
yeah, but just adjusting. And I feel like I have talked about this with my friends. Like we were talking about like, how does this look? Like this is strange to us. Like it's strange to us. And you like you want to reach out or you want to do this or you want to be there or you want to continue, but it's like nobody, it's the unknown
yeah,
of how do we do this? And yeah, you can either continue to grow with that person and get to know this new person, or it's gonna fade away, unfortunately.
yeah.
So yeah.
But no, because like, I know for the last couple of years, that's something you have been working on and has been transitioning with. And for me, I felt like it was always kinda, like, easy to just be like, "Yeah, okay." And I'm
Mhm.
now in a situation where it's the first time where it's hard for me because 'cause I'm like, "Oh," like you've been going through recognizing like, "Oh, me and this person have outgrown each other. Crap, what does this look like? What does it look like when you still love the person?" But you're
Mhm.
also like, "Hey, it's real I realize I really love not talking to you anymore. Like,
Mhm.
I realize, like, talking to you stresses me out,
Yeah.
and, we it's no longer an enjoyable thing, but I still love
Mhm.
you," because I think also a lot of times when we see friendships ends, it's like something big happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something big happened. But, like, what happens when nothing big happened, you just realize, like, "Oh, we don't really like each other's personalities anymore. We're
Mhm.
just no longer compatible anymore."
Yeah. And it's not
And I
like
think that's how you get into these situations where you just hold on, knowing
uh-huh.
you don't want to, knowing that, "Okay, I'm gonna meet with them for dinner," and, like, you're anxious driving to the dinner, where you're like, "Fuck, I gotta answer the phone because this is the 4th time they've called and I haven't answered," but you don't want to answer, and it's like, no one teaches us really how to handle those things because you assume, "Nope, we're just gonna be friends forever." You know, steal from me. Or unless you lied to me about something, unless something big happens. The fact
Mhm.
of the matter is sometimes you guys just evolve. Sometimes they evolve out of it, and that's okay too.
And that's how I had to realize too, like, not I'm the problem, but my personality might not mesh with them in this season or this age, and that's okay. At first, it hurt my feelings, but I'm like, yeah, if they're not feeling it, somebody else is.
Yeah.
So it's just like that's okay. It was hard for me to accept that too. But I mean, you go to assuming different things when you lose friends.
Yeah.
But I started to be okay with all those situations. And then going back to even like having like it's been times I had to sit in the car and do
Yeah.
breathing to calm my
Nervous system.
nervous system down. And I'm like, this is not how it's supposed to be around friends. This is
Yeah.
not, this isn't healthy.
Yeah.
So I think when going back to even like say I had a good year this last year is because I had to evaluate that, like what people makes me smile or what people when there is a problem. But I think
Yeah.
I had grieved because last year was 2025. 2024, I grieved a lot of friendships. So by 2025, I got to acceptance mode and this
Yeah.
is what it is. And these people are making me smile. These people are making me happy. I'm gonna stick with that. New friends are coming along and improving. But like
Yeah.
even being open to that and learning that that's okay too. In this stage of my life as an adult, these people are more probably what I need and just accepting it.
Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, watching you go through that really helped me because, I'm going through a period right now too where I'm like, oh, how do I figure out this gray area? Because kind of like you went through with that particular friendship, I'm going through that now where I'm like, oh, we don't like each other anymore. Like, we just no longer who I am as a person, you do not like.
Mhm.
You are as a person, I don't like. And I'm not sure they have came to that conclusion yet, but I'm like, you're saying things, you're doing things, and I don't think you are meaning to do it to harm
Yeah.
me, but I
Mhm.
think, like, we're not compatible anymore, you can't help it, and that's okay, but now what to do with that? And I think the
Mhm.
thing that's hard with friendships too is kinda like you talked about, so, like, me and you, since you brought it up, let me know if you still wanna cut it, like, last year, we had a moment where we had to kinda, like, do a breather and then, like, have a good
Mhm.
conversation, because you're right, me and you, we've been friends, what, 15 years now?
Dang, yeah. Mhm.
But, like, because we know certain things about each other's personality. Like,
Mhm.
I think you know about me, like, from what you guys have said, like, I can be blunt and I can be a little bit aggressive
Yeah.
at
Or
times.
you can just shut down and
I
nobody
can
knows what's
shut
going
down.
on.
Yes. Yes, I'm very good
Yeah.
at that. I can definitely
Yeah.
shut down and just, like, disappear.
Uh-huh.
Quickly. And I think for me, it's like, I know that you can be sensitive sometimes, and so I
Mhm.
think because you're worried about me shutting down, because I don't think I've ever come at you crazy, but I think it can be like from you, it's like, "Nope, I don't want her being snappy, I don't want her to shut down," and for me, it's like, I don't wanna say something and it come out
Mhm.
wrong, and it's something that touch on something that you're, like, sensitive about,
Mhm.
and, like, I think because of that, because we know, like, "Oh, those are our buttons," it's like, "I don't even wanna bring this up." Like,
Yeah.
fine, we're gonna get back on track because that has been our history. But then it's like, no, sometimes we do have to have the sit down, breathe it out.
Mhm.
Like, okay, hey, let's discuss this. Um, but it's like, but what happens when like I don't want to discuss it? I don't think it's worth saving.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that's
Yeah.
kind of hard. Because you can love people and you can be like, I love them, but this is not worth saving anymore. So how do we even bring this up that like, hey, I
Mhm.
still love you. Let's never talk again.
And that's hard. That's hard to say. Like, that's hard to say. And that's what I would say too. Also going back to another point I was trying to hold too, like where you were saying, like sometimes I can be sensitive. I think that's what happened with the friend I fell out with. Like she was like, "Well, I don't want to say that. I'm just gonna hurt her feelings." But I understand. I'm understanding more of how I come off to people. Of is not how I really see it. Because in like relationships and friendships, people like tiptoe, and I'm like, "Why you gotta tiptoe?" I know I'm emotional, but it's just like if we really have the talk we gonna be good. So don't and I'm trying to like make that known, but I do
Yeah.
know for some people, a lot of people, it's like she sensitive, so I just can't say it. But I'm like, did I cry? Like, what did I do? Like, but it's just like learning perspectives and just if we have those, I mean, if I had those talks with my friend that only seen us, even from elementary, I was even more sensitive. Not elementary, like middle school, I was even more sensitive. So just holding that as that's me, that's just her, that's just her, that's just her, and not noticing that I'm growing out of that.
Yeah.
It's just stuck in that way, and then it's just like, but now I don't do that, so
Yeah.
we get to know each other now. So
Yeah. No, I'm glad you brought that up because that's exactly what I was gonna say is I think also some of that is us learning the newer version of you,
yeah, yeah.
and learning, like, where the limits are and, like, where the growth has also been, like,
Mhm,
a big part of it as well.
mhm,
Going back to what you were saying about we were talking about, like, "Oh, should have brought things up sooner." Definitely should have, definitely in mindset, I think while I do understand why I didn't, because they did have a lot of stuff going on back to back to back, our friendship probably could have been saved. And
mhm.
now we're at the point where I don't wanna save it. Emotional safety is huge for me. You?
It is. So essentially, what we're saying is like some friendships are not shared becoming. It's bonds don't always grow with you, so that is just something to keep in mind.
Yeah. And kinda like we touched on earlier, we talked about this when it comes to careers. This like I already put too much money, I put too much time, I already have my reputation built in this career, so I can't walk away with it. And it's real. We still have things like you know how much student loans I have in this? Do you know how many years of training I've had in this? Do you know like how much of my identity is tied to me being this?
Mhm,
Those are real things, and no one is telling you like to just throw that away. But what I will say is, I remember when I was in school, there was a woman who went to school with us. She was in her late 50s. She was going back to school. She had a career making lots of money. She was in finance. She decided she wanted to do social work. And we were like, girl, why? Um, and she had a lot of life changes happening at this time. Me and her were partners on a project. And I remember like talking to her one day and asking her, like, yo, what made you at this age, like, why would you mess up your 401k to become a social worker? And for her, it was like, I was never happy. I did it because this is what I was told I was supposed to do. I did it because I grew up poor and I did not want to be poor anymore. I wanted to make
mhm,
money and I did that because it made sense right then. And I'm at a point where my kids are grown. I paid for their college, I already own the house. And like, it no longer makes sense for me to stay in this career that I hated
mhm.
because like that's what I'm known for. That's what I all this experiences and what it's tied to. I got the for her it was I got the things out of it that I needed to get out of it. And now that I
Mhm.
got those things out of it, it no longer makes sense. I wanted
Yeah.
to make sure I can get my kids in good schools. They all went through all the schools. They're good, they're
Mhm.
stable, they have their own lives. I wanted to make sure I can be a homeowner. I wanted to make sure I didn't have to worry about money. I was a homeowner. My car is bought off and paid off. My home is paid off. Like I'm good. And so what was the point? And for some of us, it might be like, yeah, but I ain't there yet. I haven't paid off anything. Everything is in default.
Mhm.
And your higher power need to have a conversation about what you need to do next.
Because if yeah.
But it's just to say, like, consider like if you're really just staying in places where just to prove that like your past choices weren't a mistake or like a fear of starting over or we talked about this before, the sunken cost fallacy, which is like, well, even though it's a sinking ship, it's the ship I paid for, so I'm gonna keep putting money
Mhm.
in the sinking ship
Mhm.
and I'm gonna keep, but the boat is still going to sink. So
Yes.
ask yourself, if you reframed it, would you still think the same way? Like
Mhm.
instead of saying I'm starting over, looking at it as, okay, I'm starting somewhere new and I'm starting with experience. Does that change how you look at it? And I also think that goes into the like, how much of this is fear that you have about your ability to start over, or how much is this fear about, well, I already put so much in, and how much of this is actually fear about how other people will react?
Mhm.
Uh, because I feel like this is where healing gets real. We often don't do change because we fear that we're going to disappoint people. We fear we're going to be misunderstood. We fear we're going to be labeled as like inconsistent, or we fear that, or we feel like we're going to fear that we're going to make other people who we care about uncomfortable with us deciding to change.
Yeah.
The way I think about that in particular, this is so millennial coded. It makes me think of a Lifetime movie or like
Mhm.
a Hallmark movie. Cause it's always like the big lawyer from the city go back to his little honky tonk town. And he got that like big fancy executive firm fiance in the city. And it's like, but what would she think if I tell her I want you to go and save my parents' farm? Like there's this fear of like, but this is
Or coming back and losing it all and have to regain. Yeah.
like, but I was supposed to be the one that made it. And what happens if I
Mhm.
still just come back here and live like everybody else? Like
Yes.
there's a fear of disrupting the comfort. And
Mhm.
one of the things I know I do a lot, especially when it comes to jobs, is I ask myself, but am I actually even comfortable here?
Mhm.
Because sometimes, like, I'll tell you guys, I had a job. I absolutely hate this job. I fucking hate them. There should be a documentary about them in about 10 years, and I'm going to sing like a canary. I'm going to sing for the free. When
You're gonna
HBO
be on it.
call me to do a documentary about this company,
You're saying all of this.
I'm gonna show up in my Sunday's best. Like y'all don't even have to pay me. I got stories upon days. I was in there 6 months.
Right. That
Uh, but no, I was in a job last year that I didn't even have to get into. I don't even know why I did that. But at one point when I was thinking about leaving, I was like, "Yo, uh, it's stable." Because I had went from working for myself into going back into working for somebody else. And I was like, and again, I talked about this on, I think like the last episode, like I had a health emergency and I had to be hospitalized. I was in hospital for like 5 days. And I don't know why it just did something to my brain. And I freaked out
mhm.
like, oh my gosh, I'm paying for this high ass insurance by myself as it is already. I got to pay this hospital bill. I got to da da da. And it just made me panic and be like, I really want stability. I really want when I have to take, and then I had to take like a week off of work. They wanted me to take two, but I work for myself. I couldn't afford to take 3 weeks off.
Yeah.
Like it created a whole thing for me that made me panic and go, you know what? I'm about to go start working for a company again because I need stability. I need when I'm sick, I'm still being paid. I need that
Mhm.
there is a company paying for half my insurance. Like I just crave that. And when it was time, it took me, y'all, I was at this job 2 weeks before I sent my first email to my boss saying, you lied to me about what this job is. I feel like y'all not being honest. Like, I knew from jump, like, yo, something is off about this company.
Mhm.
Anywho, when I finally got to the point where I started to realize I needed to leave, I was scared because, and here's the thing, I've worked for myself successfully before, so I shouldn't have been scared. But I was scared and I was just like, well, but it's so comfortable. They pay for my insurance. I have a nice insurance policy. They're putting back into my 401k. It's not solely dependent on me.
Yeah.
I was taking off all the time. Like every time they got on my nerves, I was like, I'm not coming in.
Mhm.
I loved being able to do that. And I was just like, do I really want to give up that comfort? And I had to ask myself, but are you comfortable? And I'd be like, you know what? No. Like, yeah, they give me certain
Exactly.
comforts. I was like, but like, I was having to like wake up 2 hours earlier to convince myself to go to work.
Mhm. Mhm.
I was like having
Like,
to have my coworker calm me down before I went into meetings because I was like, really trying to play in our face. I had
mhm.
a coworker who said, shout out to her, who said one day, because we were just talking about it, she was like, girl, they got us in a 360 deal for therapists. I was like, that's exactly what the fuck this is. This is a 360 deal for therapists where we are doing all this work. We are getting none of the money. They're fucking over the clients. They're fucking over the
Yeah.
therapists.
Mhm.
Nobody knows what's going on. No one will give us a straight answer. And they're profiting off our likeness and our talent.
Mhm.
It was a mess. But, like, yeah, that was the thing that, like, shook it for me was because I was like, "Okay, you're back in this, like, comfortable area where you don't really have to worry, at the minimum, you're always gonna get this every week, and da, 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 da." And then I had to ask myself, "Okay, all the things you're saying are comfortable, are you actually really comfortable? No. Your mental health is gone. You
Going.
I
Mhm.
had the worst blood pressure numbers I have ever had in my life working at that company. Like to the point they're like, no, we need to run this again because there's ain't no way
Mhm.
these are your numbers. And those are my fucking numbers.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So one of the things I would ask when you're having that and you're being fearful of like, but do I really need to do this? I don't want to shake up my comfort. Are you actually even comfortable?
Mhm.
Is the thing that you're fighting so hard to stick to and hold on to that you're like, but I need this, I need this. Is it even really providing your needs? And again, not just companies, those friendships, not just those friendships, that partnership. While we're like, "Ah, I really need to, I need to stick through because, I'm just so happy here. But are you? I'm so comfortable here. But are you?
Right here. Yeah.
Is it just what you're used to? Just because you're used to something don't
Yeah.
mean it's something that you're comfortable with.
No. And I don't know, and I think we always call being used to it comfortable.
We do. We confuse it with
Like,
comfort.
what is the word for that? Like, just something used to, I guess.
Because
Yeah.
you know how I felt from that job from week one.
Mhm.
And I really was up there telling myself,
And
like,
it
"I'm
didn't
so
change.
comfortable." Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gone in 6 months. I
Mhm.
we,
True.
wrapping this on up,
Mhm.
basically what we're saying, guys, allow yourself to be okay with evolving into a new you. And you don't owe anybody any explanation, but you do owe yourself some honesty. It can mean I am no longer over justifying what I need to do for myself. I am no longer over defending doing something that protects my peace and my mental health. And I'm no longer overperforming for clarity from people, situations,
Mhm.
or things that wreck my nervous system. It is okay for you to recognize this does not fit me anymore. I have changed my mind and I am honoring that. And it's even okay if you say, I don't have the words yet, but I know my answer, and my answer is no longer doing this or
Yeah.
here. So again, as you are asking yourself, am I trying to evolve, or am I being avoidant, or do I really need to do this? Ask yourself, if I think I'm staying out of comfort, is this actually even comfortable for me? Because you're not inconsistent for evolving, you're not wrong for wanting something different, and you don't need permission. You enjoyed today's episode, guys. We'll have a new one for you guys next Sunday. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at She Wolf Alchemy. Be sure to leave us a review wherever you're listening, and you'll hear the sound of our voice next week. Bye.
Hey.